Welcome to Ace's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. Each week we bring you another story of an entrepreneur starting their own business and what it takes to the challenges to get it to the right level. And I'm excited about our topic today because often when I'm working with companies, this is an area that they're not doing so well. So my guest in the studio is Tennille Carter-Paul. She's the founder and CEO of Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions, LLC.
Yes.
So Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions. So you guys do?
Bookkeeping.
All right. So when you hear about that, bookkeeping is often confused. So sometimes, people think all kinds of things about what that means. So explain to us what's your definition of bookkeeping?
My definition of bookkeeping is, it's a good definition.
Well, do you do like taxes? Because sometimes bookkeepers...
No, we don't do tax. So we basically keep track of the income and expenses for the business.
Okay.
Income, expenses, liabilities, assets. We get your numbers ready for the tax return. But not only for the tax return, but also throughout the year. Like, you don't want to just have them ready for year end. You want to know how you're doing month to month.
Yeah.
So if you're spending too much money here, you want to discipline yourself and spend less and just know what you have coming in and know what you have going out.
Yeah, and I was sharing with you before we started the show that I've done some of the ACEs organization that helps with this podcast, and they do these speed coaching events.
Yes.
And I've done them several times, and I've been amazed at the number of people that I've met that when I ask them how up to date their books are, they'll tell me things like 6 months. Like they haven't looked at their books in 6 months.
Yeah. And when they did look at them, were they accurate?
Oh.
That's another question.
So what they have to
Because we can
be
look
right.
every day.
Yeah, right.
Is it accurate?
Right. Okay.
We pride ourselves on accuracy.
Got it.
So that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you get into or decide that this was the thing for you?
Well, I always knew I wanted to be a business owner in high school. And when I went to college, I initially went for mortuary science until
There's so much we could discuss
crazy.
About that.
Until I saw real morticians and how they look.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to look like that.
Right.
So I always loved math. I always loved numbers. So I just thought accounting. So I went to school for accounting.
So you diverted from mortuary science into accounting.
Well, I heard that they made a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
I
have
young.
heard that they make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Especially today.
Yeah.
So, I was young. So I went to school for accounting. When I graduated, I always knew I wanted to be a business owner. So the first question you ask anyone is, what do you love to do?
Mm-hmm.
I love numbers. I love helping businesses. So that's when I decided. And my sister-in-law was an IRS agent. And I kind of put the idea out to her about doing bookkeeping. And so she said, that is a great business. So many people need it. Yes, you should do it.
Yeah. Every business, no matter who you are, you have to have bookkeeping.
Yes. And I get referrals from everyone. If you go to a business coach, your banker, they all tell you the same.
Yeah.
Get a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
So
did you start the business immediately after college, or did you go to work for someone?
No, I worked
Okay.
for an envelope company in Atlanta. And I actually moved to Atlanta from New Orleans because of Katrina.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So after that whole mental thing,
Mm-hmm.
I did go and get a job. And about maybe a year and a half, I decided this is what I wanted to do. So my boss let me work part-time while I started my business. And I used to drive to work every day, and I would see magnets on cars for the businesses. So that's how I would call, hey, I own a bookkeeping firm. Do you need a bookkeeper? Every day. I was like so motivated. That energy came from, I don't know where, but so
That's really smart. Yeah.
Well,
like that.
thank you. So I did research on bookkeeping, found out it was a great business from other people. And in about 7 months, I put in my 2 weeks notice, which was October 2000. I started the business November 2007 while I worked. And I put in my 2 weeks notice October 2008.
Wow.
So it's just been.
Well, that's great because that would have been, you came to Atlanta Katrina was 2007, yes?
No, it was, let's see, it's been 12 years. It's been 12 years. So yeah, like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I worked for a couple years. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very cool.
So it's been a journey, a great journey ever since.
Yeah. So, talk to me about, so starting the business, you waited, so you sort of did it as a side hustle, which is a good way to do it. So you had enough clients in place.
While I grew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And knew that you could.
Yeah. Because I had bills.
Bills.
Yeah. I had
Those
to
things
pay
that
bills,
still come around even when you're starting a business.
So I had to work.
Yeah. So is it just you, or do you have other employees and people that work with you?
Right now, I do have a team. I've had a team for the past, it's been 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
I had a team. So right now, I have a team of 3.
Okay.
So they do data entry and the whole bookkeeping process.
When did you know you needed to bring someone on?
When I realized there was not enough hours in a day and things were getting neglected because I had a family. So that's always been number 1 for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I brought on my first employee. I can't remember how long ago it's been. I can't believe I'm about to make 10 years in November. So
yeah, that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Small
it
business.
feels good.
Yeah, business getting to that level and being there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So talk to me about what are some of the, you say you would call somebody and ask them if they needed a bookkeeper, or you get referrals all the time.
Yeah.
What are the kinds of situations or things that you see in your business? Because if you're, from a bookkeeper's perspective, like what do people do right? What are they doing wrong?
Well, most of the time it is business owners who want to know where they are, but don't know how to, they don't even know what accounting software to use. So the majority of my clients, I've been in business, a lot of people for years, and I don't know where my money's going. I don't know exactly what I have coming in. Very few people come because they are trying to get a loan and they need books, but the majority of business owners they want to know.
Yeah. Well, and having those books together is a precursor to being able to get a loan.
Yes.
You have to be in a good place to explain where you are, where you're headed, what your business looks like.
Yeah.
You have to have these, annoying things like profit and loss statements and balance sheets.
Yes. So, and that does come up a lot where they're trying to get a loan, or even if you want to sell the business, I think you need financial.
So this is a foreign thing for me because I have conversations with companies and I shared with you that they often will tell me, I don't know. I don't keep my finances because I always have. Right. Yeah. So I just it's just been a natural thing for me to keep those things.
You understood.
Right. I don't know. Are they just like looking at their accounts, and if they have money in the bank, then they know that they're, they think that they're okay? I look
at my bank account. I want to get this. Oh, I have this much in there. Let me go and get it. But I try to stress to them, even though you have a lot of money, you don't want to just throw away money, and you want to know where it's going.
Yeah.
Like if you have $100,000 in revenue, what's your percentage on payroll?
Right.
If you are spending 60% on payroll, that's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? Are they being productive, or are you just giving money away?
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather you save it, go on vacation.
Right. Save for your retirement.
Be smart. There you go.
Because if you're a small business owner, you're the person responsible for making sure you're going to take care of yourself later.
That's another huge problem. That's a whole nother hour with the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And business owners, small business owners are often, they are future thinkers, but they live very much in the present. Like, what do I need to do today? Do I have enough money to pay those bills? What's that going to look like? And kind of giving them that forward thought.
Yeah.
So what's an engagement look like? How do you start with a company?
Well, I start with the initial consultation, usually about 30 minutes to an hour, just to get information about the business, see where they are. Some people do have books. They're just not accurate or need to be updated. Some clients don't have books at all. And then I get a good idea of your business, and how can I best be an asset to them.
Yeah.
So it starts with that. Then I create an engagement for a monthly rate. And if I'm doing years of bookkeeping, it'll usually be a project first to get it caught up, then move forward with monthly.
Right. Yeah. Project to clean up all those shoe boxes.
Yes.
And nowadays, I guess, it's probably like files and things because it's not necessarily all paper.
Yeah, thank goodness. My shoebox full of receipts days are over.
You mostly get electronic.
Yes.
Yeah. You talked about, maybe they're not tracking it all or they're tracking it inaccurately. So like how could somebody give me an example of what somebody might be doing that's inaccurate?
Well, first of all, I have met a lot of people who keep track of things in Excel. So you can have a list of Walmart, AT&T, but you don't really know total income, total expenses to get your net profit or loss. So one huge thing is, like, let's say, for example, you deposit your own money into the bank or you get a loan. They'll put it to income, but it's really not income.
Oh, wow. They're recognizing a loan as income.
Yeah. So, you pay tax on that.
Taxes on a loan.
I like you. You know
wow.
it. So most people don't.
That makes me hurt. Yes.
I don't like to give money away, and I don't like my clients to give money away. I take it personal.
Yeah.
So that's an example. Another one is tracking the proper categories. So the most simplest thing, a lot of business owners don't really know how should I track it.
Yeah.
So it could be from rent. If you put a deposit on your building, it's not really a rent expense. It's an asset because you're going to get it back. If it's advertising, telephone are usually pretty easy, but like even software, if they buy furniture, if it's a certain amount, you don't expense it, you put it as an asset. So
yes, there's a lot of rules.
Things like that,
Yeah, equipment, things like that. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Rules around vehicles, things you're buying and purchasing, and it's really you have to be tracking it correctly so that then later from a tax perspective, because that's often what people think about with bookkeeping.
Yes.
They'll say, you do taxes.
That's it.
And you're like, actually I don't.
Yeah.
Give the information to someone, and that way they can then do your taxes.
Yes.
Because the thing is that I think people don't understand, your tax guy, he looks at the tax law, but he doesn't really look at your business necessarily. He's expecting you to tell him stuff.
They really don't.
Right.
They don't look at the detail. Not to put anybody on blast.
Right.
But most CPA, they don't look at the details. So that's our job. And we like details.
Right. And to help answer those questions and,
Yes.
and move things around to make sure that they're in the right place.
Get it
and all that
accurate.
kind of stuff. Get that
Yes.
stuff accurate. Okay.
Yep.
When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about growing your business and maybe some of the other things that you see that are like, how do I even as a business owner get started in knowing how to put stuff together? So, because I can see a business owner being afraid to call you because they're like, I'm in such bad shape. What do I do
They're
now?
embarrassed.
Yeah, they're embarrassed. Yeah.
That's
Be
true.
back in just a second. We're talking with Tennille Carter-Paul. She's the founder and CEO of Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions. You're listening to Ace's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw. We'll be back in just a minute.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business may have closed in 1 year.
If it wasn't for ACE, my business wouldn't be expanded as much as it's expanding right now. They were there for me at the time of my need.
If it wasn't for ACE, we would not be here today.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for ACE, I would very much still be cooking at an hourly rate, and I would have never impacted hundreds of lives and an entire community.
I still remember going to different kind of banks, big banks, and with papers, and these people send me back because I don't have, I had experience in the restaurant business, but I don't have, everything else this bank needed, and I believe in me.
I did the research in Adult Day. I had experienced it personally because my grandfather had Alzheimer's. So I wanted to do the business myself, get into it because I knew I could make a difference.
Initially, when we started, there was only one person, which would be me. And then the company have grown from one person to 8, and we provide quality assurance, quality control testing for FDA-regulated companies.
I think Grace not only completely understands what it's like to start off in an office connected to your laundry room or wherever she was, but she also understands the growth process, and I think that she does an excellent job of making sure that everybody who works with ACE has an understanding of the kind of struggles and celebrations that you can have.
ACE has helped us with putting our business idea into the market, working with us with the business, actually working, actually showing us, guiding me personally, how to solve some of my marketing issue problems or with the business planning.
You don't meet many lenders that are invested in your success. And, you know, from their classes or presentations, seminars, they really do have a vested interest in your success.
The best advice I can do to small business owners is follow your dreams, you know? Always follow your dreams, follow your heart.
Have a plan. Just because you have a passion for it doesn't mean that you can start a good business.
Get ready for the ride of your life, and definitely make sure that you look out for fantastic resources like ACE.
ACE is the way to go.
You're just the best. They really are.
And welcome back to Ace's Best Stories. I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw, talking today with Tennille Carter-Paul. She's the founder and CEO of Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions. And I love the finances and the numbers of a business because it tells you the story. Like, I do marketing for companies and I do operations, but as much as they will tell me the financial picture, it lets me know how to help them out.
Yes.
What should you sell? What shouldn't you sell? Like, where do you make the most money? Where do you not? Like, when can we hire someone? All that stuff is in your financials.
Yeah.
So if financials aren't together,
you can't plan or make good decisions.
Can't tell the story. So talk to me about the thing I run into with companies when I come in and they need help with operations, like they're growing or they may be stalled, and I start to ask for financials and things. I get this look, right? Like, oh my gosh, you've asked me for that terrible thing that I don't want to admit that I'm not doing. So how do you get them over that hurdle? Like, what is the conversation like?
Well, so many people, they do say that I'm embarrassed and my books are a mess. I think it's my personality and my calming voice. At least that's what people say. So I just say it's okay. And that's why you have me.
Right.
Because, I don't want everyone to know how to get their books in order because I wouldn't have a business.
You're like, that's okay. I'm good with that.
And that's usually what they do, what you just did.
They laugh.
And the ice is broken and the conversation is smooth from
it's
there.
Like, I don't want you to know because I'll be here forever.
It works every time. And it's very true.
Yeah. I had run the books for several of my businesses. And at one point we had kind of grown out of what I knew how to do. Right. And we did a good job with P&Ls and income statements and stuff. And I had a cash flow forecast that I created. And I brought somebody in to help me. Yeah. And I remember sitting down with her and opening up that spreadsheet I was using and showing it to her. And I'm like, this is how I do it. You are not allowed to judge me.
Okay. Yeah.
So she did a great job. She's like, it's okay. Promise. You're in business. Like, you're doing something right, right?
Yeah.
You're making income. You're doing something right. So,
very true.
Yeah. So along that way, like, what are some of the resources that you've seen have been helpful for you, or things that help you grow your business, or things that you give other people before they start to engage you? Like, what works?
For me, I think planning definitely works. I did hire a couple business coaches, and it depends on your budget, but finding your resources. And so we talked about ACE before. So one good thing is that the advisory services, I meet with Linda once a month, and I help companies with their numbers, and she also helps me with analyzing mine.
Yeah.
Because, and she brings that finance aspect to it. And a lot of people don't know accounting and finance are two different things.
Right.
So I don't like finance. I love accounting. So just taking advantage of programs like that, resources. You mentioned speed coaching, which I did attend an event, and that was really helpful. So I would say planning, think about what you need and think about how you can get the help that you need. And there's a lot of, like, if you don't have the budget to pay, there's a lot of good free resources out there. So
Yeah, and you talk about that. That's another important distinction of, there's taxes, which people confuse with bookkeeping or whatever.
Yes.
There's keeping the books. There's finance, being strategic. Like, what's that going to look like? How's it going to work? And those are all very different disciplines.
Very different.
I fall more on the finance strategy side. So give me a set of books and I can do a lot with them. But I'm not sure that I'm the guy to be putting the journal entries in and understanding, how to keep that going, right?
Yeah.
So
and
yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
We go and find someone.
Because you will have a job. That's right? From now on. So in the process of, getting somebody's books in place, and do you have some recommendations around, like, how often should I look at my books?
Yes, I recommend every month. Things change all the time. New technology, just the world is really changing. So I honestly feel like once a month, once you get your profit and loss in your balance sheet from Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions, you sit down and compare it to the previous month. We also give a report where it has percentages, like this is like percentage of income. So out of your 100% income, this is the percentage you spent on payroll. Another big one is meals and entertainment. Payroll is a huge thing for companies. Mm-hmm. Advertising is another one. If your advertising is, let's say, 15%, but you're not really growing, then I would say those advertising dollars are not being well spent.
Yes.
So I would say monthly.
Yeah, those kind of things you should be getting an ROI on. So right? Like if you're doing advertising and you're not growing at some clip, then there's something that's not working.
Yes, at the very least quarterly. Look at your books every 3 months at least.
Well, and I've run into so many horror stories of companies where they may have had an employee that was stealing from them or whatever. And if you're looking at your books on a regular basis, you're going to identify that.
Yes,
Specifically, and I don't know if you guys get into this, like as I'm working with companies and looking at those things, the next thing we establish are budgets. So because you're budgets in or outside of a budget. Too. But you can't do a budget if you don't know your books.
Exactly. Well, you can, but you can't do it accurate.
Yeah, right.
I'm all about.
I'm going to spend less on Starbucks this month.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did. I'm just not sure.
We spend a lot on meals and entertainment.
Yes.
It's pretty
big category.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell people's business, but
is that a commonly big category?
Yeah. Payroll, meals, those are pretty huge. Yeah. Oh, insurance. I've been coming across that, like huge insurance.
We won't get political on the show, but that's been a big thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of spending going on in that category now that's a little bigger than it was at one point in life.
Yeah.
So, as you've thought about kind of growing your own business, you say you've got 3 or 4 people now?
3.
Yeah. So is the goal to like take over the world?
Well, just Metro Atlanta area for now. I have been growing slow. The main reason why I am okay with that is because I want to keep the quality. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies, if they grow too fast, then the name and you call them because of the name, but you don't get quality work. Like I have my eyes on every single client file because I just pride myself on it looking good, being a good product, because in essence, that's what it is, and just doing a real service for people.
Well, and the personality, your personality of, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, I could totally see that playing into that.
Yeah.
Has it been hard to then give up control?
At one time, it was a real struggle. And then I talked with, I think it was like 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, because it was right after I started getting team members. I spoke with a business coach. I got a free 30-minute session, and that was my biggest issue. So he told me that, he said, well, Fortune 500 companies have issues. Mm-hmm. An employee screws up, you correct it, send out a notice, we apologize, and you make sure you train them, and, things are going to happen. Yeah. So when he told me that, I'm like, wow, if Fortune 500 companies screw up, how come I have to be
perfect?
Yeah. So, we want to be close to perfect, but he kind of gave me that, it's okay, calm down. Yeah. Because, a lot of entrepreneurs, we have that little controlling thing.
Almost all.
Yeah.
Almost all.
Yeah. So I'm learning.
Control freaks.
I'm learning to keep it in the business and not bring it home.
We are entrepreneurs because we don't want to be controlled, but we want to be in control.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So an E-Myth, if you haven't read E-Myth by Marco Gerber, that's a book that helps with that.
Yeah,
and what's interesting in the world that I've seen is you talk about a client that you've screwed up. When you screw up something for a client and you go back and you fix it, those are often your strongest relationships because you've had to weather something tough. You've had to get through something. It's when they're like, things move along and then something bad happens that those are the ones that may go away, right?
Yeah.
It's not bad to have fixed something for a customer.
Well, it happens. And because we're so reliable, we've had clients for years and years. Yeah. And even
that's because you don't want to teach them bookkeeping.
Yeah.
You gave us your secret.
No, they don't want to know.
No, okay, that's true. That is true too. That is true. I found that into that all the time.
That is very true.
That's very true.
I used to train years ago, and so I would go spend 2 hours training them within 2 or 3 months. Tennille, I don't want to do this. Can you just do it? Right. So I don't even train anymore because why waste our time?
I had a lady one time who she did SEO training, but she wouldn't do the SEO work for you. I was like, I don't want to learn how to do SEO. Like, I just want you to do it. Right?
Thank you.
I don't want to take your class.
Yeah.
Don't. I want you to do it. So that's smart.
We can't do everything.
No.
We're trying to run and grow the business.
Right. Exactly. And you really shouldn't. Like, that's the first thing when I tell people, so I'm a big proponent of, outsourcing and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. The first thing I tell them to do is to outsource their books.
Yes.
I'm like, outsource your books, get somebody else to take care of the day-to-day, make sure you know how to read a P&L and a balance sheet to some degree, do a regular check-in, but get rid of that, right? Because there are companies like yours that can come in and do that in an incremental manner. So how do you work with companies? Are they just sending you receipts and then you're entering them? Like, how do you make that happen?
95% of our clients give us viewing only access. So we download the banking transactions, print the statements ourselves. And then we do the data entry, reconcile all of the accounts, ask our miscellaneous questions, and then we have a client portal that we upload the reports to. So it's always there. You don't have to search for emails. It's right there.
Yeah, and just sign in and get the latest and greatest information.
There you go.
Well, very nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been great learning about your service.
Thank you.
And I love how you've approached it. So thanks so much. So make sure that you check out Atlanta Bookkeeping Solutions. I've been talking today with Tennille Carter-Paul. She's the founder and CEO. And if you are thinking about ways that you can grow your business successfully, you need to understand your books. If you do not understand your balance sheets, your P&Ls, you don't know how things are coming in and out, you really shouldn't be hiring employees, and you really shouldn't be spending the money until you understand those things.
I agree.
And and it's one of the first things you can outsource. You can get somebody else to do it, and they're more objective than you are. They don't look at it with the same feeling that you do. You might fudge those numbers a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're probably putting things in the wrong place.
Yeah.
By the way, just so you know. So you've been listening to Ace's Best Stories. Make sure you tune in next week as we bring you another story of an entrepreneur or small business owner who is building their own dream. Until next time, I'm your host, Eric Holtzclaw.